mentioned the attitude of, with every meal we're eating, is the attitude of disconnectedness. I want to just mention like 2 or 3 more other ones that I think kind of complete this whole thing, even though there's even a lot more I would like to say. But one is we're eating, with every meal, if we're eating animal foods, we're eating a mentality of privilege and elitism. It's very important to understand that the subtext of every meal, if we're eating animal foods, is certain beings are inherently inferior. Other beings are inherently superior. And it's totally fine for the superior beings to dominate and exploit and abuse and oppress, however they want, the inferior beings. That's the basic message, unspoken message, if we're eating animal foods. And so, again, how can we ever expect to create any kind of effective movement for equality or justice or freedom if we're eating animal foods? It's absurd. It really is absurd. We're wanting for ourselves what we refuse to give. Our blindness is shouting so strongly, but we don't hear it, we don't see it because we're wounded. It's not our fault. We have to understand our basic intelligence has been shut down so much by this that we just don't see it. So I'm here just to remind us, basically, that we have to have integrity. We need to live, we're called to live our lives according to what we would like to accomplish in the world. And all beings who are vulnerable to my choices, I have to, I'm called to think about that, to be aware of that as best I can. So that's one. Another one is commodification. Essentially, every meal is teaching us at a deep level that certain beings are not beings. Certain beings are commodities. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Certain beings are not beings, they're commodities. We buy and sell them by the pound, by their weight. We do that. We call ourselves intelligent. We buy and sell beings by the pound. Can you imagine a superior species coming here and thinking we taste good and saying, well, we're going to buy and sell you guys by the pound now? And I'd say, no, you can't do that to me because, I can play the piano. I mean, so you can't sell me by the pound. I mean, I have all this beautiful feelings and creativity come flowing through me. They say, I don't care about that. We're going to eat you. We don't care about any of that. You're just a piece of meat to us. We would think these are incredibly stupid, blind, idiotic, superior species. Right? That's us. Just off the charts, stupid. We can't see that these are beings. You look into their eyes, it's so obvious. There's someone in there. That they have feelings, they have personalities, they're unique. And go to any animal sanctuary and rub a pig's belly or hang out with some chickens or turkeys. They're all unique beings. And they have their own relations, and they have their yearnings. So the whole thing to understand is that we're all harmed by this. And what this does is it creates materialism and reductionism. We have, as I talk about in the World Peace Diet, we have materialist science, reductionist science, materialist religion, reductionist religion. Our 2 primary modes of knowing, these institutions, I should say, institutions of science, the institution of religion, institution of education also, they're just perversions of true knowledge. We reduce everything to matter, and we think if we can't measure it, it doesn't exist. And so our knowledge, our technology that comes from science, what is it doing? It's destroying us. GMOs, 5G, massive nuclear bombs. This is what we have our smartest people working on. They get the most money if they can make the most destructive things, the things that imprison us so we can never escape. Monitoring systems so we're all become little cows in the big pasture that they're controlling. Technology will do that. These animals, they have no chance. Our technology is so powerful, they have no chance. Well, that's our science. That's materialist science with materialist religion that reduces religion in the same way to a dogmatic, enigmatic male deity looking down and judging us and so forth. This is all a projection of animal agriculture. Education that just dumbs down children so that they will be cogs in a machine. That's animal agriculture education. We do plant agriculture the way we do animal agriculture. We have to understand this very clearly. There's 2 kinds of agriculture, right? There's plant agriculture and animal agriculture. If someone says they're a farmer, you have to say, what kind? Plant or animal? Going back, Plant agriculture was always women's work primarily because it's working with the forces of nature and the beautiful abundance of nature. You plant one seed and you get trees that give us thousands of fruits and seeds. The apple tree doesn't charge us by the apple, right? They just come. It's this abundance. And so there's always been these feasts of gratitude for the earth and the abundance of the earth. And we're working with the cycles of nature, of the moon and the seasons. We're working with the natural abundance of life. We plant a seed, and the vegetables and the fruits and the berries and so forth, they grow, and we can eat them. This is a cause for enormous joy, and we can eat whatever we want. We can grow it that way. We can eat it. So we're working in harmony with nature, essentially, and a sense of abundance and joy. But animal agriculture, from the very beginning, was always men's work. Women were not really doing that at all, and it was always the opposite, the exact opposite. The animals wanted to be free. They did not want to have their babies stolen and their lives stolen and their milk stolen and their eggs stolen and their purposes stolen. If we steal their purposes, we lose our own purpose. We have to understand that. We don't have our purpose. But animal agriculture is based on stealing the purposes and lives of other living beings on a massive scale, and who are resisting and don't want to have it happen, so it's violent. We just use violence. And so now, since we live in a society, we're born into a society based on animal agriculture, we do plant agriculture the way we do animal agriculture. We use GMOs. We use pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, monocropping, cutting down everything and growing just a few things, killing everything else. That's all animal agriculture. So again, in order to get to the roots of the GMO problem, all these other problems, we have to move to a plant-based way of eating. We have to go, I'll say the word, go vegan. I love the word vegan because it's actually a word that means something, but the problem with the word vegan is that it's a category, right? I'm a vegan, you're not a vegan. And the whole problem with animal agriculture is it creates these categories of separation. That's a cow, a pig, chicken, that's a food animal. So in many ways, what we're talking about really is healing ourselves from categories and a mentality of radical inclusion that includes all living beings in the sphere of our kindness and compassion. And so I think to just understand that moving to a plant-based way of eating or moving to a vegan way of living is a word for basically just coming home to our true nature. It's nothing to be proud of. It's just simply looking with eyes that when we see beings rather than seeing objects to be used. And that is liberating for us and for everyone. And then the final, I know I'm just about out of time here, the final attitude that animal agriculture really requires is the domination of the sacred feminine. I mentioned earlier, I talk about in the World Peace Diet as Sophia. And Sophia is the ancient Greek word that means wisdom. So this is the wisdom that lives in all of us, whether we're men or women. We have this inner wisdom that yearns to love and nurture and protect life. And that inner wisdom is sacred and precious, and yet animal agriculture is based at its core on repressing Sophia, repressing that natural wisdom within us as human beings so that we can eat the flesh and secretions of horribly abused animals, so that we can steal the babies and kill the babies and so forth. So it's based on destroying family structures, destroying the mother and child bond. Animal agriculture is based on destroying Sophia, that natural wisdom in us. So not only does it cause tremendous suffering to the female animals and to the babies, as we rape and kill them, but it hurts us too. It shuts down Sophia in us. So what we're talking about with veganism essentially is the resurrection of Sophia, the resurrection of the sacred feminine dimension of life that yearns to love and nurture and protect life. And that lives in all of us, whether we're men or women, to live our lives as best we can as expressions of infinite and eternal consciousness. So I'm just going to close with that idea that each one of us is a manifestation of the love that is the source of all life on this beautiful planet. Each one of us is a field of eternal consciousness. I really recommend, if you have a practice of meditation, to quiet your mind every day and just learn to listen within and realize that beyond the clouds of our conditioning of being raised and the wounds of being raised in a hurting culture, there's an infinite sky of consciousness that is liberated and free and is of the nature of compassion and kindness and joy and creativity and liberation. And we can tap into that at every moment, and we can create a movement that's maturing so that we see all beings as other human beings as wounded, so we can be the healers to bring this message in a loving and kind way and help create societies and communities of sanity and freedom and liberation and transform our society. And I have to say, traveling all over the world like I've been doing for the last 25 years or so with the World Peace Diet, is that the momentum is really building very quickly, and there is a very positive transformation happening, and we're part of that. So we can wake up every morning and just give thanks, knowing that we have another day to contribute to the healing of our world, to learn more, to care more, to contribute, to make connections, and to help make this movement grow and prosper for the really short time we're on this planet. We're just here for a few short decades. So to come here to this planet that's being so wounded and mugged, really, by animal agriculture, and bring an alternative based on sanity and healing, I think is the greatest gift we can give to the world. So I want to thank all of you, because I know if you're here, whether you're here physically or by live stream, you're part of this awakening, you're part of the healing, you're part of the pioneering effort that's being made to really awaken out of the delusion of violence that is animal agriculture. And when we put our energy into this together and cooperate, we are transforming our planet, and no effort is ever lost. So thank you all very much. Please go forth and multiply the message as best you can. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Much love. Much love to all of you. It all helps. Everything helps. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I wish I had more time. Thank you.